Hi everyone, today I want to share the experience how to loosen hip joints. So hip joints very important in the internal style exercise like Qigong and all kinds of Tai Chi. So after we know how to loosen, relax hip joints in the right way, it improves the feeling, get the stronger feeling of the Qi faster. And also, it is very good to improve our normal life. Okay, how to relax hip joints in the right way? Here I want to introduce some simple, easy technique. So first one is a physically, powerfully, and break hip joint. So as we stand like this, we can use two palms, hit two hip joints powerfully, and then try to break hip joints physically in this way. The break, so powerfully. This is a more physical method. So after we try, and then the hip joints can stand. So this way means relax physically very well. And then we try to use two palms, gently snap two hip joints. Like this. Then we will find when we gently snap and we can sit, not like the first one. We can sit down smoothly. So this way we can simply say half physical control and half Qi control these movements. So the reason is that after we snap, and then we can find two arms, two elbows will float somewhere like this. We cannot physically move downward. That means we start to use the more Qi. Then we use one example to learn how to loosen hip joint in the right way. So now we sit every day. So now there's a chairs over here. I just show you how to sit, even we sit every day. So when we sit, we always loosen hip joint, raise, move the hips down backward. Then we can sit on the chair. Okay, ready? Let's sit. So that means when we want to sit, we only loosen hip joints. We do not need to bend the knees. So now I will show you another way we bend the knees to see can we sit or not. Now when we sit, in this way, not easy to sit. So we can use the chair, or we try to exercise to sit in the right way to understand hip joints, knees, to sit down backward. In this way, we can move in the right way. So now when we get ready, we push gently by hui up internally. Then the body and Qi backward, and the body loosen straight. And then we just like we tried, imagine we sit on the chair in this way. So this feeling, this pose should be the right to relax hip joint. So when we loosen hip joints in this way, and then most movements, when we do some movements, naturally we can use more dantian or waist. There's also some common problem. The first one, when we sit or loosen hip joint, we hold the hip joints. So if we hold hip joints, when we move, and the movement is not very smooth, we can see when we hold hip joint, some movements feel not comfortable. So how to improve or correct this problem? We can use the first methods. Try to break hip joint. If we find we hold hip joints, we can use this powerful break hip joints or gently snap and try to find right position. And when we find this position is right, and try to remember the feeling in this area. So this feeling means we can relax hip joints in the right way. So second problem. So when we loosen hip joint, we move down and we bend the knees. This is another common problem. For example, when we get ready, we want to sit, loosen hip joints, but we bend the knees like this. So how to correct this problem? We can use the examples we used here. We sit on the chair. Just imagine behind the chairs over there, and then we sit and sit. In this way, hip joints can move naturally downward, backward. In this way, we will not bend the knees. So after this, you watch this video, you can understand we can use some physical easy techniques to let hip joints understand how to move down backward is the right way to loosen, relax hip joints. And then we can also use some example to improve the feeling, improve this one, relaxation of hip joints as we sit on the chair. And then we can use internal energy to improve the general feeling of the whole body by pushing, by way up internally. Then with more qi inside the body will start to work. And after we repeat exercise, then our mind, our physical body will understand more what the meaning. So what is the right way to relax hip joint? Thanks for watching these videos. So in this tutorial, we learned how to relax hip joints in the right way. We used some example of physical simple technique or methods to improve the hip joints relaxation. So if you find this video helpful for your exercise, please subscribe our channel and tell your friends. So more information about online class and about media materials you can find on the website. And any ideas or suggestions, please let us know. In the future, we can prepare very well and we can share exercise experience. Okay, thank you again and see you next time.